Sivaya Nama Tiruchitrambalam. We are continuing our discussion on the 7th Tirumurai called as Thiruppaatu, given to us by Nambi Aroorar, and we started this couple of days back, and today in that series we are going to discuss about the second verse from the first Thiruppathikam. This is relating to a place or a temple called as Thiruvennainalloor. We are going to talk about that particular song, the second verse. Naayen palanaalum ninaippindri manaththu unnai peyaay yeythen peral agaa Arul petraen veyaar pennai thenpaal venney nalloor Arul Thuraiyul aayaa unakku aalaay allaen enalaamae. In this particular verse, Nambi Aroorar tells, he goes into a very lowering himself, and he says, he calls himself as a cur, as a dog rather. We all know dog is a symbol of loyalty, but why are our saints, almost all our saints call themselves as dog, the cur basically? The reason why they address themselves as a dog or a cur is because of the characteristics of a dog and not the loyalty. Of course, it is a very good animal, very good birth based on the loyalty, but when we say a dog's characteristics, we are only referring to certain behaviors that a dog has. So he calls himself that he was like a dog before, and he was like a ghost before, and now once he got initiated in this path of Saivism, he is so happy and blissful, and he is in the path of Saivism. So that is the overall crux of this particular verse. If you look at this, he calls himself as a dog, as I was mentioning earlier. Let's look at some of the characteristics of a dog which resembles a human being. Now, when Nambi Aroorar addresses himself as a dog, we shouldn't be literally taking that he is addressing himself. It's basically something like this. He is giving us the idea that we should recover from this particular Maya and reach Lord Shiva's lotus feet. So, in order for us to understand and relate with each and every song verse, what we have to do is we have to put ourselves in that particular position, think from that particular position, and start repenting for all our mistakes and start longing for achieving realization. Now, let's look at the characteristics of a dog. What does a dog do? Dog has a characteristic of eating its own vomit, which is almost similar to our behavior, human beings' behavior. What are we doing? The vomit is simply whatever we are seeing around us. We call it as dhanu karana bhuvana boham. Dhanu means body, bhuvanam means the earth, karanam means all our organs, internal as well as external organs, and at the same time the last one is the boham, which is basically the pleasure that we are getting. What are we attracted towards in this world? If you look at it, the pleasure, the organs that we are having in our body, the body itself, and the world. Everything that we are getting attracted is either one of these four, or rather two of these four. If you look at it, all these are equivalent to vomit, and we get attracted towards again and again and again. We just go back to the same waste. That is exactly the behavior of a dog. The second behavior of a dog is loyalty, which is very good, but at the same time, loyal to whom? Now, if you imagine a situation where the owner is a very cruel person, and he tries to just be unmerciful to the dog, yet the dog will be loyal to this person. It's exactly what is happening with us. We should be loyal to Lord Shiva, but what are we doing instead? We are being loyal to this body and to all, we call it as arnavam, kanmam, maya. We are actually taking those three as our so-called owners, and we are getting ourselves enslaved to it. If you look at it, are we really getting the right leader? Are we really getting the right owner? No. And we know all our problems are because of these three, and yet we go back again and again. We are so loyal to something that we shouldn't be loyal to. Now, the third characteristic of a dog is, if you look at a dog, it usually bites a piece of bone. The bone would have been a dried piece of bone. The dog will fiercely start biting that, and because of that, its own mouth gets wounded, and the blood will start oozing from there. But the dog will assume that the blood is coming from the bone, and even more rigorously it will start to bite the bone. Imagine, that's exactly what is happening with us. We are thinking that the pleasure that we are getting is because of this body or because of the senses. Indeed, it is not because of the senses, it is because of Lord Shiva who is with us. If you remember the Advaitam concept, he is with us for us to understand and realize and enjoy the pleasure. But what do we think? We think it's because of this ears, this nose, this mouth, this skin, this eyes that we are enjoying the pleasure, and we go and get ourselves entangled again and again and again, similar to the way how a dog keep biting the bone where that's literally nothing there. We are also doing exactly the same. So these are some of the characteristics which a dog has, and which is what even we are having as of today. So what should we be doing? We need to get out of this behavior. We need to get out of this entanglement, and we should start receiving grace, and that is what this particular song is all about. Now, if you look at it, he, as in Nambi Aroorar, says that he was almost like a ghost without thinking about Lord Shiva. If you look at it, we all know it doesn't belong to him, rather it belongs to us. Until certain age, we were all roaming around like a ghost, not even thinking about Lord Shiva, isn't it? That's exactly the analogy he is giving over here. Now, there are some verses, example verses, which I'm just skipping, and I'm directly moving on. Because in this particular song here, in this particular verse, he says, peral agaa Arul petraen, which is nothing but he says that he received a grace which is not so easily achievable. So what is this grace? If you remember, Nambi Aroorar was taken control on his wedding day. He was taken as Lord Shiva's slave exactly on his wedding day. What did Lord Shiva do? He went to the wedding as a very old Brahmin guy. He disguised himself and he went there. He was looking at Nambi Aroorar, which we call it as Nayana Diksha. Nayana means eye, Diksha means initiation. So what Lord Shiva did was, he initiated Nambi Aroorar through the eyesight. The second thing what he did was, he said, I have a proof, and the proof is a letter that Nambi Aroorar's grandfather has written to say that Nambi Aroorar is a slave. So Nambi Aroorar starts chasing God, and finally he holds the hand of Lord Shiva. And the way you need to read Periya Puranam for this, it's such a beautiful place. He will say, all the lords and gods that we are seeing right now is trying to even see Lord Shiva. They are not able to do it, but Nambi Aroorar was able to catch Lord Shiva's hands. Such a touching place. When you read it in the exact language, it will be even more graceful, but at least we can just discuss that. Periya Puranam is a must read text. So that is called as Sparisa Diksha. Sparisa means touch. Diksha is initiation, right? The initiation which was done through eyesight, and the second one is through touch. So both level Diksha has been done. The third one is Vasahadike, which is based on uttering a mantra. So what was the mantra that Lord Shiva gave Nambi Aroorar? We all know the verse called as, or the words called as Pitta. When it is coming from Lord Shiva, obviously it is also a DK, right? Diksha, right? So Nambi Aroorar was initiated with all the three, which is the eyesight related decay, which we call it as Naayaen decay. The second one is touch based, and the third one is verse based. So all the three were given to Nambi Aroorar. That's why he says, no one is yet to receive this, but you had given me the grace that I'm supposed to receive, and I was not even aware that I'm supposed to receive this. Now the next word that we want to highlight here is veyaar pennai, which is a place, the place which is called as Thiruvennainalloor. It is in the banks of Pennai river, and the tree, the holy tree in that particular temple is bamboo. That's what we call it as vey. Vey means bamboo. So bamboo is the tree symbolizing, holy tree symbolized in that particular temple. If you look at the characteristic of a bamboo, we all know bamboo will look so macho from outside, but internally it will be a hollow one, right? So if you look at it, internally there's nothing, absolutely nothing, but outside it will be so glorified. That's exactly how Nambi Aroorar looks. If you look at it, Nambi Aroorar was grown as a prince, so his dressing and the way how he appears is exactly so macho, but internally he was totally submitting himself to Lord Shiva, similar to a bamboo. And if you remember, best flutes are made with bamboo. Flute is a very natural instrument which based on those days, even before man-made instruments, we already had bamboo. In thick forests where bamboos were there, bees would have gone there and they will make holes there, natural holes. When air, wind passes through that, soft, nice music was raised. So the naturally made instrument was a flute. That's exactly what cowherds will be using it. If someone wants to herd like cows and goats and all these, they will use flute. Why? Because flute sound will control the cows. In Saiva Siddhanta, we call it as pasu. Pasu is the same as cow. It also represents souls. So if you look at it, Lord Shiva is the cowherd. He's the cowboy rather. We are the herds, and he is there to guide us through the flute, which is Nambi Aroorar. Imagine that way. So when you read the 7th Tirumurai, it is given to us directly by Lord Shiva. Why? Because we are groomed so that we don't get lost on the way, and we are always within the vicinity of Lord Shiva, and we don't miss our path or just run away from the path. And in order to herd the cows, the Lord Shiva is using the flute as one of the way, and the flute is Nambi Aroorar. That is one of the beauty over here. If you look at it, he also uses the word called as aayan. Ayaa, which is Naayaen, which simply means cowman, cowboy. So Lord Shiva is the cowboy who is there to guide us, which is basically we call him as the Pasupati. Pasu is we souls, Pati is our Lord. So Pasupati, the one who controls the souls, that is how we address him, and that's the beautiful verse what is given to us here. So if you look at it, Naayen palanaalum ninaippindri manaththu unnai peyaay yeythen peral agaa Arul petraen. I was like a dog, I was like a ghost. Without thinking about you, I was everywhere, but then I got the grace that no one was supposed to get. I got the grace, and from whom? From the person, from the Lord who is in Thiruvennainalloor, which is in the banks of Pennai river, and which has the tree, the holy tree, as bamboo. In that place, he is there who herds us towards grace. And how can I say that I'm not his slave anymore? That is how he concludes this particular verse. Now, if you look at it, we all know the way how Lord Shiva controls us is through the mantra called as Namasivaya or Sivaya Nama. You exactly see that terminology in this particular verse as well. If you look at it, dog, which is disguising, and it's just going back and back and back to whatever it's not supposed to go. similar to what we are doing. And what is hiding us? Thirodhanam is hiding us. Thirodhanam is the one which is totally disguising and putting us into a delusion kind of a situation. So na represents nai. Then the next one is ghost. Ghost is ma, because in Tamil they always say Aanava is like a ghost. Aanava is the ignorance, right? So it's like a ghost. It's just everywhere. It's like I am the one doing it, and I'm the one doing it. The power and all these. This kind of an ignorance is called as ma. Arul petraen is va. Aayaa is si. And the entire song talks about ya. So that is why we are able to see si va ya na ma as part of the entire song verse itself, which is verse number 2. I'll come back again with the next verse very soon. Until then, bye bye. Sivaya Nama, Tiruchitrambalam.